All right, everybody, time for a little Independence Day 10 and 10. We're going to do some hip hinging, we're going to do some pulling, and we're going to do some quick feet stuff today. And we'll talk about all of that as we get going along. But first, let's just get ourselves warmed up, get ready to do a little of that hip hinge, which is so important. And we're going to talk about that as we move through this 10 in 10 today. So the first thing that we're going to do is take a step off to the side, reach down with both hands, come up, you're nice and wide here, slide over, and come back up, okay? So what am I talking about with hip hinging, okay? It is a very, very important movement that we need to practice because we are sitting beings, okay? Now, you'll notice my back is staying relatively straight here, okay? I am not bending at the back. If you're doing this and you can see behind you, that means your spine is flexing, curving into this. We want a neutral spine, okay? So even as you're reaching down, your eyes should be able to see something several feet in front of you, maybe like 5 or 6 feet in front of you, okay? So that's where we're gonna get that nice hinge at the hip. And that was 1 minute. Look how easy that was. Now we're gonna take 1 foot forward. Again, we're gonna hinge here at the hip. I'm gonna give you a side angle here in a minute. If you have your hand right here at that crease of your hip, then what we're going for is that's gonna kind of squeeze that hand, okay? So if you take like karate chop right here at the groin, then what I want you to feel here is your leg on one side of your hand and your belly on the other side of your hand or your hip, okay? That all important hinging through the hip. We're gonna do 1 whole minute on this side with a straight arm. Gonna take it off to the side here, like that, and then up and open. Here, and up and open, okay? Again, you can see my spine is staying relatively straight. That's so important for our back and our knee health, and that we're using these big gluteal muscles, the butt switch sides. So again, put your hand right here at that crease. We're gonna close that angle, open it back up. Close that angle down, open it back up, okay? Perfect. There we go. This is a motion, I'm really enjoying a book right now called Outlive, The Art and Science of Longevity, written by Peter Attia, who's a medical doctor. He talks a lot about the importance of strength. And interestingly enough, we got about 15 more seconds of this. 4 categories of strength that we need to focus on are our grip strength, and we'll talk about that a little bit more. Eccentric muscle loading, which means lengthening, strengthening with lengthening of the muscle and slowing down a motion. Oh, time to switch. We're gonna go ahead and grab a weight now, okay? So I'm gonna use a heavier weight today for this. I'm gonna get in my squat position. We'll go wide feet. We're gonna go straight down, straight up. If you didn't have a weight handy, that's okay. You could do it without, or just hit pause and go grab something. I'm using like a 10-pound weight right now, so I don't want to go terribly light with this, but you want to be able to control if we went down slowly, okay? A second ago, I talked about eccentric muscle loading. That's lengthening of the muscle, strengthening while lengthening. That's what we're doing when we slow down against gravity. We've got only about 5 more seconds here. Good. Let's do 1 more. Perfect. Okay, now we're gonna get those feet going a little bit. So I'm gonna take my heavier weight here, okay? We're gonna do a little bit of quick foot movement. So what you can either do is shuffle those feet far apart and shuffle them back together, or you can jump them, okay? So shuffle, feet apart, shuffle feet together, or jump and jump. That's it. That's it. We're doing some good pulling here, okay? So to get back to the 4 categories of strength that are important for our longevity. They're grip strength, they're eccentric and concentric muscle strengthening. Pulling, okay, which we're pulling here. We were pulling a moment ago, okay, and hip hinging, okay? Those are, functionally speaking, 4 categories that if we switch sides, again, you're either going to jump or shuffle those feet together, jump or shuffle them apart and together, or you're going to jump, okay? Those 4 categories, if we strengthen with grip strength, eccentric muscle loading, pulling motions, and hip hinging, we're going to be really well set for longevity. And what's more important than being strong and active and able to move, just checking my watch here, throughout our whole life? Those are functional strengthening movements that we need to be practicing. Also, we're getting a little cardio here too, aren't we? Woo, baby. All right, we're gonna do 2 more. Here, ooh, and here, good. Now, one thing we haven't done yet, oh my goodness, is talking and doing this is challenging. Balance, okay? Pick a foot to balance on. You're gonna toe touch back here. Bring that heavy weight to the outside of your stance leg. Go to an overhead push. If you're comfortable with the knee up, do it. If you need to toe touch, do it. Both good. Okay, we're gonna do a minute on each leg. Notice this one's not about speed. We had some quickness in the last one. It is really important to challenge ourselves with speed changes, okay? And just think about that. Just be honest with yourself. How much of your training or exercise or breaks include some speed? What do we need if we stumble over something? We need a speedy reaction, okay? What do we need if something comes at us? Switch legs. That we're not expecting. Switch legs, go to the outside. We need to be able to react, okay? And it's not a conscious reaction, it's a subconscious reaction, all right? That's what we train for. When we're training in all these different directions and depths and different speeds. It's so important to add variety. There just is not one thing you could do for yourself that would be better for all of your systems. Your heart, your muscles, your respiration, your organs, your metabolism, your bone density, your muscle strength. I mean, it goes on and on. Nothing better than exercise, okay? And we need to add variety to our exercise. All right, we're gonna take this weight in one hand. We're gonna get our feet a little bit more dynamic. We're gonna take an open step, reach down, come back. Let's balance again, okay? That last balance move was more static. This balance move is dynamic, okay? We need both. If we're only working on our balance, standing still, or practicing standing on one leg, that's better than nothing, but it's one piece of it's about 1% of what we could be doing for our balance. Because what I need is I want to be able to go out and hike, and when I notoriously trip on a root, like I always do, I'll clip my toe. I don't want that to bring me down. Okay, so I need to be able to react to anything that might come my way. The only way my body's going to do that naturally is if I'm training it how to do that, if I'm making those connections on a regular basis, okay? Woo, let me check my watch here. Only about 20 seconds left on this 10 and 10. Then included grip, because we're using a heavy weight, pulling in several different directions, hip hinging in several different directions, concentric and eccentric muscle loading in several directions, several depths. It's variety, guys. That is it. So, Independence Day 10 and 10. Let's think about Independence Day for us personally, okay? Think about your personal independence throughout your life, lifelong independence. That requires balance, strength, mobility, and stability to prevent injury, because the more we can do now, whatever age and stage you're at, the more you do for yourself, the more you train in these ways, the more independence we're going to have throughout our whole lives. All right, guys, 10 and 10.